Turn right, then turn left.
Oh, the animals over there.
Busy. What's in there?
Is there a little game to play here?
Look at all them animals down there, babe.
What is that?
Don't know.
No one that.
Summer of play, I play a risky game of dice. Dice playing in Tudor times was a game that went against the law and was only allowed to be played around Christmas. Take it in turns to roll both dice 3 times. The person who gets the closest to 31 wins. Heads, I mean, dice will roll Henry. So you can roll them and see who gets closer to 31.
So do you want to go first or me?
Have a go. And then,
I think we need 2 each.
come on then.
2.
Come on then. You roll first.
Okay.
1, 3, 4. Try again.
5.
9, 15. Try again.
That's 15.
17.
19.
Good girl. So mummy have a go.
No, one.
Yes, you did it 3 times, haven't you?
Yeah.
5. Oh, I will roll that one again, eh?
8.
5 plus 8 is
I don't know.
13. And then last go. 13 plus 6. 9.
19.
Good girl.
You won.
Yeah. Come on, let's go see what's in there.
Let's try again.
2. The Georgians guess complex riddles in their version of charades. The game as we know it today is more about miming a word or more until one person guesses right to win their turn. Have a go at miming your favourite animal, food, film or book to your group and see who's the first person to guess it right. The 3 words sound like...
This has got games, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on then.
Come in here.
Oh, it's where they kept animals. Right then.
Where's the animals?
They haven't any, it's where they used to keep them. It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah. Very dirty.
Can you see that corn bins cover the part of the window, indicating the bins were not there when the room was first used? It's what Daddy brushes his teeth with.
going on?
It's a chapel, so it's a sacred space. This room is one of the earliest surviving examples of a domestic chapel in England.
Oh, there's a sign here.
Ooh.
Good. Will I get in trouble?
Maybe.
Probably.
No, don't you?
There's writing. Writing on the walls.
Where?
On that far. If you bend down, you can see it.
Danny.
There's something through the photograph here. Roof slates. Heavy burden. So that's what we used in Tudor times, that tile. And this is what we use today.
That's what they used years ago, and this is what we use
Yeah.
today.
Oh, there's that one Dunning Hall sign I was looking at before we came. So you can spot the Morton family crest as you wander around the hall. The crest shows a wolf, as they were a symbol of Valour and
This is to
guardianship.
apathy.
6 fairy wolves are hiding in the hall today. Can you spot them and make your way around? What animal would you use for your family crest? They can draw one. Oh, the tea room's that way.
Down to the key.
No, we can go for food after.
Oh, is this what the entrance was?
Yeah, they used to have something called a feast.
Is it rock hard?
Don't touch.
It's rock hard.
Of course, the plastic. See a wolf up there.
I found the wolf.
Yeah, I did. We found one wall.
So it says building the hall. William Morton the first built the oldest part of the building around the Great Hall in the early 1500s. A gradual social change moved away from the communal living. Privacy, along with the need for more space, became important, and the family added wings. Oh, it's proper wood, isn't it?
Chimneys and
Good girl, yeah. Brick chimneys and extravagant glass windows.
showed that the family could afford the
Latest
latest
technology.
technology.
The last extension.
Extension was the big and blue house in the early 17th
Century.
century.
Yeah.
We should just read the big words.
Just read the big words. Yeah. Okay.
And then we can go to the crowded room.
Yeah. This is one of the 3 original pieces left in the house, and the wood scratches easily. What do you think this was used for?
How can we
We don't
open
know
it?
for certain, but it can be locked and would have held valuable items. So it says don't touch, doesn't it?
How can we open this? Like that?
They'd have probably locked away valuables that they didn't want people to see. Treasures of Little Morton Hall. We ask our visitors to not touch the furniture as it will prevent them from being damaged. The circular table with an octagonal base is one of our original pieces of furniture. It is based on a Spanish design as recorded in the 1559 inventory, valued at 10 shillings. The cupboard of boxes in this room was also recorded in the 1599 inventory, making both over 400 years old.
Oh, I can't really fit one of them.
Oh, wait a minute. There's another one in here. There is, isn't there?
How big is this house?
Whoa. Got more writing on the wall.
That's supposed to be one of these.
But why is there so many prickly things in there? Sounds
Oh, is it this?
So, if you then tell her to rinse it, and then she accidentally touches the prickle things, it could really hurt her.
There's some scholar that could read all these.
Oh, here.
Yeah. I think it's just a bay window.
You can see the moats. And a garden.
And a garden.
That's cool. A maze garden.
A maze garden.
Dad, you can see the maze garden. In this one you can see.
Electrician PV.
Keep looking out the window.
Up there.
Two walls.
Yes.
2.
Yeah?
Oh, the one in there as well. To John
Don't touch.
Morton.
These are the sprinkles.
My dear friend, I send you good greetings from this most lovely day at Little Morton. The sun
These
does
are
shine on the whole
pencils, aren't
wall
they?
as well.
Take a picture of that.
Middle class and upper classes would have shown their wealth by having tables covered by a linen cloth. That's supposed to be an eel.
Yeah.
Whereas
Oh, all this food is plastic.
hey,
All this food is plastic and it's upstairs of the house.
Yeah.
Some if we can touch and it's okay. But stop being wonky fools.
read feedback.
Can't hear.
To read, it's to write feedback.
But no. Snap going down.
I've listened here. The 10 agents of deterioration: loss, fire, water, physical, chemical, biological, light, relative humidity, temperature, and dissociation.
Which one?
This one.
Oh,
I keep moving them along. But it
really?
keeps
Oh, what's it called?
Spider beetle.
Spider.
Liquid.
Yeah. Yeah, would we use that? No.
Careful, man.
What about the paintbrushes?
No.
Well, we could dust it off, couldn't we?
Oh yeah, but can we actually clean it?
You will.
I can't clean this
That
one.
bit must be broken.
These are what the floor is made of in here. Just to make it like concrete but lighter.
Just help stoke the fires.
I had a little peek in and I saw red.
Oh, that's what they used to put things like your brother in.
Number 4.
Yeah.
Hey,
First.
they used stuff like that, put your brother in back in the day.
Cradle.
Have they put a soft thing in
Yeah,
there?
that was
I saw number 4.
Did you?
Cool. First day, but it's okay. Too big for that door. Is this what the house is? Yeah. What the house looks like? So that's where Benji is. That's where Benji's pram is.
Is it? Yeah.
great, thank you.
Can I read this?
Yeah?
I'll read it in the one you're with me. Oh, yes, I need to carry you. Come on, I'll carry you. I need to carry you. I need to careful in this room.
what that is, don't you? Put your head in there.
Don't put your
Do you know what it is? It's a toilet. So where your hands are, that's where someone's butt's been.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is that actually the toilet?
Yeah?
Oh, that's creepy. Dad, do you want to see?
I'm alright, thank you.
No.
No, I'm alright. I'm happy. You just touched that 100-year-old butt. Butt, James.
I made it. What used to be in here?
That's the original floor.
Look at it.
That's what the house is made of. I was just working through this.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Oh, another one.
Do you want to look down toilet?
Probably drops into the moat, all this poo.
Oh.
Yeah,
exactly.
mate. Yeah,
Brother.
Wait, does it?
yeah. The moat's there, look. So if you had a steaming poo in there, it'd go straight down.
Into the mouth?
Yeah.
I didn't. Daddy, are you coming in? Huh? The floor?
No, that's glass. Stained glass windows.
What? There's the windows.
This is what it's made of. You can design your own.
Let's try.
Yeah.
I want to do that. Put that there.
It doesn't actually fit in. It just shows you.
Is this the great chamber?
Sorry.
Where is it?
Oh, I see another little wolf.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
This is the crest.
And that's horizontal. Yeah.
That's the crest.
We should have got a marble.
And there's the Lord and the Lady.
No, it doesn't
Like a
look
shelf
nice.
marble.
Yeah.
I think he likes my hair colour too.
Yeah.
To read.
No time to sit down, Dad.
There's no time.
Switch on before it's closed. There's 5 wolves.
If do you know the 5 walls? There was one on the crest, wasn't there? And then there was also one when we were looking at one of the signs. So maybe that was part of the wolf. But the only thing we haven't checked is the tea room. Maybe there's one in the tea room.
That isn't it?
Yeah.
No, I mean top. Mum, look at the bubble.
Right, here we are then. That's close enough for government work. Hello, everybody. Are we okay?
Yeah.
Feeling good? Good, good. Now, if you were around earlier today, you will know that it is my way to thank people before I start talking for coming to see us, because your visits are absolutely vital to the upkeep of this house. You know, every cup of tea, coffee, slice of cake, second-hand book, ice cream. It's all the money in the pot, and that pot really does go a very long way to keeping the house standing. So thank you very much indeed for coming to see us. You're doing a great job. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the building of the house, about who built it, the manner in which it was built, that sort of thing. A little bit about what's going on the outside while it's being built, because it was built over about 120 years, so it took a while. So, you know, things like that. If I don't cover something that you're really interested in, then do come and have a chat afterwards. I'll be happy to talk to you. First of all, I might explain what I'm wearing. People often ask me, what are you wearing? And the answer is, it's Elizabethan, as opposed to generally Tudor, which again, if you were around this morning, you'll know a little bit about, because I'm always talking about myself. Yeah, quite well off, actually, probably sort of family member status. So, you know, maybe 3 or 4 shirts, who knows. But yeah, linen shirt, anything against the skin is linen, so that's easily washable. A little hat called a coif underneath my woolen felt hat. I mean, you'd wash that and ruin it. When you wash it 50 times, it'd be ruined. But you can wash that 100 times, and so it keeps this clean-ish. It's actually what's known as a statute cap. Elizabeth's time, she gave an edict, a law that stated everyone below a certain social standing must wear one every Sunday and every Saint's Day, of which there are quite a lot, or else incur a fine, and that's to boost the felt hat industry. So that's a good idea, isn't it? So that's my hats, 2 hats. Yeah, nice doublet, it's sleeveless doublet for the summer, by the way. This is sort of nice fine woolen doublet, woolen hose or socks. But these are the thing that you should admire. These are my breeches. These are Venetian breeches, no less, which mark me out as Elizabethan because they got sewn in pockets. Yeah? You had some now, don't you? Sewn in pockets. You wouldn't really have seen those prior to Elizabeth's reign. So that's why I'm Elizabethan today. Right, that's me. Right, I'll tell you what we've got to do. We've got to do a bit of time travel, really. As I say, this house was built over 100 years by various members of the family. So we're going to have to start at the beginning and imagine where we are, 1504. So we're going right back to the beginning of the 16th century. And in fact, it's right at the beginning of the Tudor dynasty. Henry VII is on the throne, having snaffled it from Richard, of course. In fact, during the building of the house, we will see off the entire dynasty. I'll let you know when they pop off. So yeah, Henry VII. William Morton. The Morton family have been in this area for a long time, even by then. There are written references to them going back to the 1300s, so they're well established by the time this house is built. It's not the first house within the confines of the moat. The moat predates this house, so there were more than likely simpler buildings prior to this one. So we've got to go back to 1504. So we need to mentally time travel. This is a bit of swampish land, so it's got to be drained. And we're going to build the northern end of the house first. So we need to erase everything else mentally, okay? So that's not there. Now, don't look at it, it's not there. That's not there. I know it's tempting, but it's not there. That's not there, no. And you're looking now, you look. Even the big windows behind me are not there. I know that's a tricky one. You're all looking at them now, aren't you? It's like we say, don't think of lemons. So don't look at those. What we've got in 1504, really, is more or less a medieval hall with rooms at that end, which is the lower status end of the house. This is all the buttery, pantry, possibly kitchens. Although, as I mentioned earlier, kitchens are a bit of a grey area. There's no written references to kitchens in the house. The back of where the ladies is the storeroom, which isn't there, of course, yet. There's a huge fireplace, which must have been kitchens. Whether that was for the whole house in later years or perhaps to serve that part of the house is not sure. It's quite possible that the kitchens were separate smaller buildings close to the house. So if they caught fire, they wouldn't take the house with them. But anyway, That's what we got there. All the servants' activities there. High status bedrooms above. And at this end, this is the high status end of the house. So we've got these beautiful withdrawing rooms here for the family and their guests, and high status rooms on the top. So we have this traditional Tudor H. That's the footprint in 1504. William Morton I, Henry VII on the throne. Now inside, it would not look the way it does today. You'd have obviously no bay windows because they're not there. We got no panelling, no wooden panelling yet. The floor is a pounded hard earth floor. Central fireplace on a stone plinth with a smoke wending its way up through a hole in the ceiling. So it's much simpler, but nevertheless, it's a high status place. If you were asked to come and spend an evening with the Mortons, you'd be quite pleased about it. Go and spend the evening in there, be well fed. You've got a minstrel's gallery, so we've got the band playing. So it'll be a very nice evening. Talk about it for a week, I'm sure. Went to the Mortons last week, it was great stuff. So there we are, very impressive. Now, the Mortons are what we call landed gentry. They're not nobility, anything like that. Outside of the county, probably no one would have heard of them, but locally they're a bit of a big noise, and they've got a lot of money, relatively speaking, and that comes from the land, from the estate, which was about 2,000 acres at its height. Lots of ways to make money from 2,000 acres. You've got forestry, of course, probably where most of the wood came from. You've actually got glass making. You've got grain mills. You've got fish farming. You've got coal mining, stone quarrying, tenant farmers, all kinds of what we now call income streams. All this money is to be made off the land itself. And so they did become very wealthy indeed. And of course, if you've got a lot of money, much like today, you like people to know about it, don't you? Like, you've got a big fat car, big fat house and all of that. So the Tudors were the same. There are two reasons for this house the way it is. One is to live comfortably, and the other is to tell the world that you have a lot of moolah. So that's what it's for, really, those two things. So that's what's behind us now, 1504. Now, before too long, in fact, by about the end of 1508, we've already expanded. We've decided we need more room, more space, so we extend along that eastern side. By 1508, that's finished. That's the year before we lose Henry VII, by the way. That culminates in a domestic chapel. Now, that's a bit of a status symbol. You come to see the Mortons and look at that, they've got their own chapel. Yeah, pretty good. In fact, it's an interesting thing in itself, because it's a pre-Reformation domestic chapel. You don't see too many of those about. And of course, when it was first built, it would have been highly decorated, very colourful, full of iconography, which of course, come the Reformation, is all plastered over, painted over, and made much plainer. But even in the early days, the family probably would not have attended ceremonies or services in the chapel. I don't know if you've been upstairs yet, but in what we call the chapel chamber, there's a photograph on the wall which shows you where there was a hole in the wall. And the family would sit around the hole, known as a squint, and they would look through the hole down at the altar and the priest and attend the ceremony there, rather than going downstairs and mixing with the hoi polloi in the chapel. So that's pretty good. We've got two sides of the house now. So, right, Henry VII, he's gone. Of course, we all know who follows him, don't we? It's Henry VIII and all that he brings to the party. What a guy he was. 6 wives, killed half of them, breaks away from Rome. Now, he doesn't really want to be a Protestant. He doesn't do that to become a Protestant. He does it because he doesn't want anybody telling him what to do. He wants to make all the decisions, you see. And with somebody in Rome saying, no, can't do that, no, that makes him rather annoyed. So he breaks away from Rome, creates his own church, of which he is the head. So, he's all-powerful. In fact, he remains a Catholic, ostensibly, throughout his life, attends services and receives the last rites. So nobody else allowed to do it, mind you, but, he's Henry. So that's really why there's this tumultuous situation happening outside the walls. It's all because he wants supreme power. Now, Henry VIII. Nothing much happens in his reign around here. The money's coming in, of course. We're getting richer. We're just itching to spend it and show people that we've got it. But pretty much not much happens until the year before he dies. 1546, we decide to lavish some money on the servants' end of things. We put in some more windows, more glass. And most of all, we built this grand entrance, beautifully modelled by these lovely people here. A grand entrance like that. I mean, you must, when you arrive here, you know you're somewhere, don't you? Walk through a door like that. I bet you enjoyed walking through there, didn't you? It's exciting. What a doorway. Anybody notice the little door in the big door? We had a bit of a chat about this morning. There's a little door about that big in the big door, known as a wicket, like cricket, wicket door, or sometimes known as a winter door. Very handy in the winter, actually. Can you imagine trying to keep that hall warm with that dirty, great big door like that, opening every 5 minutes? No, you go through the little wicket door, unless, of course, you're very important. Then we must open the big door. Clearly, all of you lovely people are very important, because we've opened all the big doors for you today. So I feel I must do off my cap to you all. Got that out the way. So there we are, 1546. Woohoo, bit of zhuzhing up there. Right, who comes after Henry? Anybody know? Oh, well done. Edward VI, that's right. Henry and Jane Seymour. Now, it's during Edward's reign that we really sort of consolidate as a Protestant nation. Now, he's not around very long, Edward. He joins the throne, or gets on the throne at 9. Anybody here 9? Nobody here 9? Anybody close to 9? Yeah, 9? You're 9? Oh, Your Majesty. Yeah, imagine, 9 years old, and you're on the throne of England. That's a bit scary, isn't it? Yeah, I should say so. But unfortunately, he's dead at 15. So, good luck. So during that very short reign, as I say, that's when we evolve into this Protestant nation. He creates a device for the accession, because he doesn't want a Catholic monarch to follow him. So, does anybody know who follows Edward onto the throne? Not yet. Not yet. No. Ta-da! Lady Jane Grey. Let's give her a mention, shall we? She was there for 3 minutes at least. Lady Jane Grey. Poor Lady Jane Grey. She's only a child, really, about 16. But Edward says, no, you and your husband, you're on the throne. There you go. She didn't want it, but she had no choice. But there's somebody in the background, isn't there, that's not having any of that. Of course, Mary decides that the throne is hers. And of course, she gets all the major support, so she boots Lady Jane off the throne and takes it for herself. Now, she pardons Lady Jane for what, I don't know. You know, she's there, she's queen. Anyway, she pardons her and sends her home, which is great until her father joins an insurrection because he's against Mary marrying a Spaniard. So they chop her head off anyway. So, nice move, Dad. Anyway, we've got Mary now. Still nothing much has changed around here, except we're getting more money, you know, really dying to spend it now. Mary's only around for about 5 years. So she's followed by Queen Bess, of course. Elizabeth, she ascends the throne in 1558. So her coronation year, 1559, we start to really splash out on this house. We put in these huge bay windows. Ta-da! 1559. I cannot impress upon you enough how much money glass costs. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's all hand-blown, squashed. We only know how to make little bits of glass. You know, it's not till Mr. Pilkington comes along with his floating glass technique that we make a pane of glass. So it's really difficult to make, and it's an arm and a leg. Do you know where that comes from, by the way? Arm and a leg. It's portraiture. If you get your head and shoulders done, you know, that's reasonable. Put your arms in, that's a bit more. Legs in and all, that's a fortune. Arm and a leg, cost a lot of money. So there we are. We've got these fantastic windows. And you'll see that he's so proud of them, William Morton. He's written on the top, God is all in all things. These windows were made by William Morton in the year of our Lord, 1559. It's useful that he's put that date there because most of the house is dated through dendrochronology, which is small bits of wood which are then laid against an international database of tree rings. So it's pretty good, but it's not 100%. But there we are. It's in black and white. We know, 1559. Fantastic. So expensive is glass, by the way, that if you were going to lock up the house and leave it empty for a while, you'd probably hide it. Hide the glass, because somebody might steal it. If you're going to build a new house and abandon this one, take it with you, put it in the new house. It'd be crazy to leave it behind. Imagine that now. Hey, your first house, you got your key, you turn up, take the windows. Might have boarded them up, they might have buried it. Yeah, just to be sure. Yeah. Honestly, so expensive. So, there we are. Queen Elizabeth on the throne. A couple of years after that, round about 1560, we decide we don't just want to entertain people, we want them to stay the night. Why not? We all like a sleepover. So, round about 1560, we build the South Range, which is ostensibly a hospitality suite. 2-story building. These, really high-status bedrooms for your guests to stay in. This really now is a treat. If you're invited to spend an evening, or maybe 2, with the Mortons, you talk about it for a month, let alone a week. Cross the moat, cross the moat, look at that, got a moat. Coming in, cross the moat, see the chapel, see the glass, have a fantastic meal, listen to the band, and now you can spend the night in a very high-status chamber. You'd feel so good about that. Brilliant. So, fantastic. Hot on the heels of that, by the way, because the weather in the 1500s is so severe, winters, we've never experienced a winter like the 1500s. Some people like to exaggerate a bit and say it's almost a mini ice age. Winters were terrible. You get ice fairs on the frozen Thames every year, all that sort of malarkey. If you can afford to, then you would build yourself a space to exercise in. Why go outside if you don't need to? And of course, we can afford to. So you get this rise in long galleries. All our friends around are getting long galleries, so we want one too. Where are we going to put it? Stick it on top of there. Why not? What can go wrong? Lots can go wrong. Because that 2-story building is not designed to take the weight of another story. Not only that, but if you have a look at it, it's narrow. To sort of fool the eye, make it look longer and grander, it's kind of narrow, and so it's not even sitting on the walls of the building below. It's sitting on the ceilings of your fancy bedrooms. Think about this. Over the whole house, you've got about 200 tons of grit stone tiles. That's about 32 elephants, by the way. Imagine that, sitting on your house. So let's have a wild guess about what's sitting on the top of that long gallery. Let's say 40 ton. 40 ton! Plus all the oak and the glass, sitting on the ceilings of your fancy bedrooms. Inevitably, that's going to cause problems almost from the off. You can imagine now, you've been invited to stay and have a great time, dancing, all the rest of it, and you're lying in bed thinking, oh, what an evening we've had. And then you look at the ceiling. It's starting to come through. It can't take the weight. And so they've had to put in extra walls to spread these once huge chambers are now not so huge. And they've got extra walls to try and hold that long gallery up. And it was a problem right from the start. But who cares? We got a long gallery. We can strut about in our long gallery. It'd be a beacon of opulence. You can imagine it on a dark evening, candle lit from end to end, just glowing in the night. You'd see it from Congleton, I'm sure. Say, having another bash, you can see it in the distance. Fantastic long gallery. In fact, it's been a problem so much that the last full family member to inherit the house, Elizabeth Morton, she was a nun, late 19th century. She inherited, she didn't live here. She spent money on the house, though. If you go up that long gallery, you see the iron stays holding the walls in. She was the person that put those stays in the nick of time, I might add. Much later on, the Trust, of course, put in the 1990s, put in a steel cradle. So it's really, really solid under there now. So there's nothing to worry about. Although sometimes you go up there and you think, whoa, is this safe? The answer is yes, absolutely. It's rock solid. Although, it wasn't always that way. Once upon a time, you only allowed 6 people at a time up there. And you had to stick to the wall, don't step in the middle. But now it's fine, you can have a great time up there. So that sees off Elizabeth, she pops the clock 1603. So the last part of the house to be built, in fact, is James I. 1610, we build ourselves a brewery and bakery. Who at some point hasn't fantasized about having their own pub? Let alone their own brewery. See, most people will drink beer because very often water is not safe to drink. for various reasons, much like today, in fact. So one of the easy ways to process the water is to brew it into beer. And so there we have our brew house. Estate workers probably get an allocation about 8 pints a day. 8 pints a day, imagine that. I've done the fence. But never fear, it's what they call small beer. Very, very small alcoholic. I mean, children can drink small beer. It's fine. Mind you have more than your allocation, by the way. That's 1 over the 8. The other thing, of course, going on there in the bakehouse is baking of bread. Lots of bread. Like today, people eat a lot of bread. And in those days, it would have been baked in a stone oven, sometimes heated from a fire below, sometimes heated from a fire inside it. Heat the stone, scrape the fire out, put the dough in, temporarily seal it, and it cooks. That does result, though, in the underside of the loaf being slightly blackened. So you wouldn't slice it the way we do, you slice it horizontally. And of course, the family get the upper crust, don't they? Yeah, upper crust. So there we are. The thing is complete, finally, by 1610. What a place! What a place! Being invited here now would be something pretty special, wouldn't it? You'd talk about it for a couple of months, I'm sure. Now, it's made of oak, as I'm sure you know, English oak. And if you know anything about working with oak, you know if it's cured, if it's seasoned, it's rock hard. So it's much easier to use unseasoned or green oak, which of course is going to dry out over time. So did anybody notice, by the way, it's a little bit wonky? Did you notice that? Part of the reason is this shrinking of the wood over time, because it's green oak. Another reason, of course, is the 200 ton of stone sitting on the house, trying to hold that up. And the long gallery, of course, particularly that end is very interesting, isn't it? And the other thing, of course, is woodworm and deathwatch beetle. But we're keeping an eye on that. So it's made of oak. All the pieces of the house will be cut in a wood yard. Parts of the house are pre-assembled. Each of the joints is then marked. You might have seen these marks as you walk around the house. Some interesting little marks either side of a joint. Sometimes it'll be Roman numerals. Once that's done, they disassemble that, bring all the bits here, and then, because craftspeople are illiterate largely, they look for the marks. They're the instructions on how to put the house back together. It's flat pack, isn't it? That's a big IKEA house. Put them all back together. So that's the way it's constructed, bit by bit. And it's all sort of leaning on itself, really. The first bit is holding up the rest of it, but it's fine, don't worry. So yeah, and it's not, they wouldn't have painted it black and white. See, that's a Victorian fad. Tudor people would not paint the house black and white, but they'd leave it to naturally silver. You see where we've replaced bits of wood. That's what they would do, leave it to naturally silver. And in between, quite often, it wouldn't be sort of stark white. It'd be much more sort of natural ochre, perhaps a bit more golden, looking a bit more natural in the landscape than this stark black and white business. So that's why it looks the way it does. I mentioned the moat, crossing the moat. That's a grand thing, isn't it? Not often you go somebody's house to cross a moat. You might think about having one at home. Because, you know, it's a status symbol. That's the whole point of it for the Mortons. You know, it's not a defensive moat. It's got a moat, you know. But it's a useful thing to have. You can keep fish in it. That's good, isn't it? Keep your own fish. You can empty a toilet into it. Yeah, exactly. Fish don't sound quite so appetizing now, do they, really? No, if you want to eat the fish out the moat, you would take them out and put them into what were known as stew ponds. 2 or 3 weeks in there, let them detox, you know, and then eat them. So that's good. It's a barrier for, you know, wild animals. Keep them out of the compound. That's clever. And of course, the dreaded fire. If you've got to fight, you've got a ready water supply. Give yourself a fighting chance of putting it out. So it is a useful thing to have. You should consider having one at home. Yeah. Mind you, if the climate carries on the way it does, you might not have any choice about having a moat around your house. It's quite scary, that thought. You heard me ring a bell before? Yeah? If you think about it, 1500s, 1600s, probably the loudest thing you're ever going to hear is a bell. And so it's good calling people in off the land, perhaps if it's time, you know, for eating, calling people to prayer, all that sort of thing. And a house this size, just ring the bell, everybody gathers. So it's a use, again, tried at home, useful. So the family, doing great, living in this fabulous house, then along comes the Civil War. Now they've ridden that tsunami of trouble with the religion, but they've always supported the monarch. So, of course, that's the wrong horse to back in the Civil War. The men were thrown in prison, the estate is confiscated, the women are left here to try and deal with everything. Troops are billeted on the estate and the family have to finance that. And so huge amounts of money are raised to essentially buy back what's left of their estate, get the menfolk out of prison. And so it's no longer as lucrative as it was by any means. And so they decide they're going to up sticks, go to various ways. Some go to London, some go to Liverpool, one at least goes to North America. And they rent out what's left of the estate and the house to tenant farmers. And it stays that way till the mid-1950s. Tenant farmers still in the house, which means, good luck for us, nobody is here any longer with enough money and incentive to keep up with the Joneses. So it's stayed the way it was, almost like a time capsule. It's not been altered hardly at all, which is brilliant for us to come and experience this Tudor household. Right, I think I've kept you standing there long enough. I hope you found that interesting and useful. If you, like I say, if you want to chat about anything else, come and have a chat. Otherwise, thank you so much for your time, and have a lovely afternoon. Thank you very much.
I don't think you can see him. Skyler.
A picture of them.
Oh, what is it? Oh, it's a piece of wrapper or something.
Ah.
Duck just picked up a piece of wrapper. They pick up wrapper.
We'll take a picture. Ducky.
Hello.
I can't, he keeps coming closer to me.
Come and pick him up.
I kind of want to pick them up.
There's only ducks here.
Yeah, there we go, look.
Shall we go into the moat?
No, you were not getting into the moat. Don't forget that's where Henry VIII had pooed. No, he was just in rain then. But the guests here had pooed in there. Look,
What kind of ducks are those?
I don't know.
Boy and girl ducks. They're the chicks.
I don't know what they are. They might be coots actually.
What?
They might be coots. Remember what Daddy said?
Oh, yeah.
There's a mallard.
Where's the duck? Canal.
Hey?
Is this the canal?
No, that's the moat.